Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I am doing a review on a fragrance that I have on very good authority. It's a trusted source, is a certifiable panty dropper. It is Bvlgari's Man in Black. First of all, let's get some of the other details about this fragrance out the way. Bvlgari Man in Black came out in 2014. The perfumer is Alberto Morillas, and I'm not sure if this is a flanker of another fragrance, but there are numerous Man in Black flankers out there now. This is just plain old Man in Black. I've got a 60ml bottle here. They're very, very cheap to find. I got mine for less than $60, and they probably can be found cheaper. When this came out, the first I ever heard about Man in Black by Bvlgari was that it was getting a lot of comparisons to Viktor and Rolf's Spicebomb. Now, at the time, I owned a bottle of Spicebomb, and I was kind of in the process of deciding whether I liked it or not. I initially liked it, but I did get it very early on in my fragrance collecting experience, and I did end up selling it because I stopped liking it. This got compared to Spicebomb a lot, and quite frankly, when I first smelled this, and as I've worn it since, I don't really get it. Spicebomb on my skin was very screechy. It smelled quite synthetic in a bad way, and the performance was pretty terrible. Now, I had a pretty current bottle, and so it clearly was reformulated. So I got this because it was recommended to me by someone whose nose I trust, and I was really pleasantly surprised, This opens up, I'll just spray some on my hand. So this opens up with what Bvlgari call a rum note. It doesn't really smell like rum to me, but there is an alcoholic element there. And it's basically also got some sweetness to it and some spice. Now, you know, if people were picking up the same type of spices that they were getting in Spicebomb, this here is very, very smooth spice, Bvlgari Man in Black on my skin, in combination with that rum note. It's a very smooth, probably more cardamom, maybe a little bit of cinnamon, but it works very, very well. Now this, to my nose, is a sweet scent, but it's not sickly sweet, and I also wouldn't describe it as a gourmand scent, because as it starts to head into the heart of its development, what I start picking up, and it was a really interesting part of the development for me, what I started picking up was this kind of this dry tobacco with a waxy kind of floral note, like leaning towards an iris note, but not overdone. And what it actually reminded me of was a heart stage of Serge Lutens Chergui. Now, they're overall very different fragrances, but there was an element as this started to dry down that it reminded me of that fragrance, Bvlgari Man in Black. So I thought that was quite interesting. And essentially, the development of it into the base notes is this gorgeous mixture of tobacco, but sweetened with benzoin and a little bit of tonka. I pick up mainly the benzoin in the base with the tobacco, and supposedly there is also a leather accord in here. Now, if you're thinking that you're going to smell a leather like you know, for instance, Tuscan leather or other leather dominant fragrances, on my skin that is not the case at all. Where I do detect leather is really deep into the dry down, and it's a leather still tinged with the sweetness of that benzoin and tonka. It's almost like an artificial leather. Now, this I want to stipulate though that this is a designer fragrance. It's a relatively cheap designer fragrance, but and it's in no way, you know, groundbreaking or original, like, you know, like designers in general. You're very hard pressed to find something like that. The odd thing gets released now and then that is quite different to what's out there. As an example, Gucci Guilty Absolute for men. But the thing with Man in Black is it's something, it's a variation on a theme that's out there in the designer world, but it's really nicely done, and it smells really good. If you are looking for something with all those classic masculine notes of rum and tobacco and a little bit of leather, sweetened just a touch, this, you can't go wrong. And I find this, like I said, a lot smoother than something like Spicebomb. The performance is great. This bottle does on me anyway, and it projects very well for at least the first couple of hours, and it just works. And there's a definite development in there, although some of that sweetness does stay from the beginning to the end, but then everything in the background seems to change. So it's just a really nicely done fragrance from Bvlgari. I haven't tried any of the other Man in Black flankers. This one is quite popular. It's a very pleasing scent to wear, and I can't recommend highly enough that you go out and try it if you can. I'm very hesitant to say this. I think this is a relatively safe blind buy because of how cheap you can find it. And that's pretty much all I've got to say. And like I said at the beginning, it has proven to drop panties, or potentially. Man in Black by Bvlgari. Thank you for watching.